Our guest host, Kara Swisher, interviewed former NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden this week for her podcast, Recode, Decode. And he had some very interesting things to say about similarities he sees between the NSA and big tech companies.
Facebook's internal purpose, whether they state it publicly or not, is to compile perfect records of private lives to the maximum extent of their capability, and then exploit that for their own corporate enrichment, and damn the consequences. This is actually precisely the same as what the NSA does.
Recode's Kara Swisher is our guest host. Were you surprised that he was taking on Facebook with the same gusto as the NSA?
No, I think he's sort of, I'd say, religious about what happens to information. I think it's the same things that prompted him to do what he's done, which is that he was in love with the internet at an early age when it was all about community and it was all about people finding each other, and a very different one. And when it changed into this mass surveillance vehicle, I think he got personally offended almost. It was a fascinating interview because he's so controversial. Is he a traitor? Is he an activist? Is he a leaker? And now is he a whistleblower, given current?
Where does he land? I don't know if you spoke to him about on encryption.
He's for it. He's
for it all the way.
100%.
Despite the other side of encryption, which is potential for terrorists to be able to communicate with each other. Potential for.
That doesn't surprise me.
No.
Also, no.
No. He thinks the incursions into the privacy of individuals has gotten to, and it started with the government and these programs that they had that he revealed, and it moved to Facebook and Google and the whole internet. And so he feels that a lot of people aren't getting the transparency they deserve of what's being done with their data, and that as we add on more and more things like the Nest or whatever, it becomes worse and worse, and we became a full surveillance state.
Kara, where do you kind of come down on that question you raised? Is he a traitor? Is he an activist? I mean...
In 20 years?
Well, just based on your own views. You've kind of watched the internet and the dark tones that it's taken on, and you've lost some of your own love for how this
Absolutely.
Kind of works.
I feel, I didn't like turn over classified documents.
No, not at all. And that's the thing.
Like,
he did things because he thought one way, but then he took it to a whole new level.
He absolutely did. I think that he makes a very good argument of why he did it in this book, which is quite good. It's quite a beautifully written book, actually. I think that, most of the intelligence is that he is not a Russian asset. I think is he a Russian asset? Is he a Chinese asset? Is he being used? You sort of have to sort of game it out. Why would he be that? Why would he go there? Why did he give it to journalists versus releasing it like WikiLeaks? There's all kinds of interesting twists and turns here. And I think the question is, if he isn't a Russian asset and he wasn't able to release this information of the government violating laws, what do you do? And, today, given the whistleblower in the Ukraine incident, it's what do you do? There are no channels for him.
You think he got played, though?
Played by
the Chinese, by the Russians, after it all came out, whether he was an asset for them or not. But
played how, though? That's what I'd like to... How played?
He lives right now, makes most of his money off of speaking on doing
That's right. He does that. Right.
He lives in Russia. He's there.
He doesn't want to live in Russia. He wants to come back here and he wants to have a trial, but the problem is he's instantly convicted, and so he can't explain why he did it. He just goes to jail, and that's it, under the current Espionage Act. And so he wants to come back here. He'd like to live in Europe. He's been trying to live other places, but he can't go anywhere. He doesn't have a passport. And so his argument is that he was on his way to Ecuador, which he was. He got stuck in Russia because the U.S. pulled his passport, and he doesn't want to be there. It's not where he wants to be. And in fact, I think he's on a very short-term visa there, even 6 years later.